Hey guys, it's Birdfeed Man back. I was gonna say raw and uninhibited, but still pretty inhibited, I guess. So watch what I say nowadays. Uh, just looking like garbage as usual, Taking as good a care of myself, as good a care of myself as I can. Unkempt hair is a symptom of schizophrenia, so always do your hair. It don't matter if government's allegedly microwaving you or not. There's someone mentioned coconut oil, and it's great, man. I should have done it earlier. Like it's lovely to have moisture in the hair again. I like the oils in the hair, and back prior to 2017, I used to have nice oily hair. I quite liked it, but ever since getting beamed in the head 24/7, it just dries out the hair. Dries out the skin. I think there was some biofilm that was coming off for a while, like that. That doesn't seem to happen as much anymore. I get in the shower, and when I got out of the shower to dry myself off, all this stuff would come off my skin. I thought it was just dry skin, but in hindsight, that could have been the film coming off. It, it did seem to be more substantial during the heightened, when I had heightened symptoms. Anyway, I'm just going to be all over the place in this one as usual. Yeah, it's just been a typical day here. Yeah, the neighbour's cat came over as usual. It's nice in a way, but there's still some manipulation there. Every day I come in and out of my room multiple times a day just to sort of navigate my old folks, and I keep a lot of my food in here because so they don't mess with it or mess with my cooking pots or whatever. So it looks crazy, of course, and because I do multiple trips in and out to make the coffee, to put the oil in the pot, and I warm it up, and then I just lather my face with it, lather my beard, just try to get a bit of some oils back in there. I'm doing multiple trips, and the cat, every time, literally every time, she'll follow me around, like into the room, out of the room, like I was calling her OODA loops for a while, like Dr. James Giordano, he talks about the OODA loop. I think it means observational something, what is it? Decision awareness, but I just see her like a little OODA looper, Oompa Loompa, like brrr, brrr. Her little loop is coming into the room, coming out of the room, brrr, and she does this little purr when she, it's kind of cute and funny, but it's just every day, every time, like, in and out of the door, like, I swear, I let her in and out every 20 seconds, literally. Like, she wants to come in, she wants to go out, she let her out, and then she wants to come in again. You just end up leaving the door open, You just give up. Okay, I'll leave the door open, And then it's windy and crash, the wind. Of course, my old folks hate the cat, or at least one of them does. So there's just this tension and drama. And yeah, I'm just like this ninja, staggering, and occasional balance issues, but I'm trying to like navigate these cats. I don't know if I've said it in any of the other videos, but the grey cat Bruce, he passed away about almost a year ago now. Yeah, that was the one time I think I did have a few tears, It's hard to cry now because of the brain fog, the constant stress, the constant, you can never relax enough. I get emotional when I actually manage to get out of the city, I think, because everything just calms down, and I'm out of that electromagnetic fog. I've bawled like a child, out there. It's a few years ago now, way out in the back country, wailing like a little child. There you go, there's some vulnerability. But yeah, I just feel fucking exhausted now. Too exhausted to really feel anything much, other than the anxiety and depression. Um, I like to blaze a bit of Kino, Russian. It's kind of like Russian Duma music, but it's very apt for these times. It's kind of like, what's the word? Just solemn. I don't know. So it's stating the reality. It's pretty much the political vibe of back then in Kino's times, and like when the Soviet Union was falling apart. It's kind of like similar times now, all the corruption and everything. So I like to listen to a bit of Kino, just because it actually lifts me up, surprisingly. Imagining like duck montages to some of his songs, it's kind of cool. And, if I ever learnt the video editing, I'll probably make the montages. Saving up for some more computer storage now. It's all just so expensive, and not even expensive. It's just hard to get them in stock. Because of these data centers, I guess there's a scarcity, and using all the hardware to transhumanize us or whatever it is to be able to do all this, surveillance and targeting of people, allegedly. Yeah, what else can I say? Oh, the Dr. Grande video, that was a satire, obviously. I was intending that just to be a laugh. He does kind of look like Gary Ridgway, the Green River Killer, so, I have a bit of a fucked up, dark sense of humour in my mind. I was just like, yeah, imagine they offered him a deal, like Gary Ridgway, and then he did this soy conversion, and then he became like YouTube's just monstrous gaslighter, therapist. It's pretty fucked up. There's a bit of an uncanny resemblance between me and Dr. Grande when I put on those spectacles. So yeah, one thing happened yesterday I wanted to mention. I met my father down at the park, and I think this is worthwhile sharing because some of us, we're still on the fence. Are our family mind controlled? Is it organic narcissistic abuse? And I think many of us are siding towards they're being manipulated by the machinery, the technology, the wireless. He was like lovely out there, He was, I could feel it because I'm a so-called empath. I could physically feel this peace, and that's a real thing as far as I'm concerned, the empath thing. I know that can be painted in all sorts of goofy lights, but I mean physically feeling someone else's energy, and I'm a total believer of that. But yeah, he was calm down there, and he was enjoying himself, and there was no rage or anger, anxiety. Totally different. Whereas here, every day, man, it's like they're like human voodoo dolls, because I feel it. I feel their anxiety and their energy, and they'll be putting on the news, and they don't know why they do it, and he's not really even like following what's going on the news, because I'll ask them something occasionally if there was something interesting on, like, I don't know, something that's not political at least, and they don't even remember, But so every day they turn on two TVs, the same channel, same news channel. It's ramped up so loud the fucking speakers are almost blowing, and one of them destroyed their own hearing years ago by riding around on a ride-on lawnmower with the hearing protection on top of their head, not over their ears. Again, it's just like some sort of demon possession craziness, that makes no sense. But it does make sense if we're on a loosh farm, so they can't hear, so they ramp up the news to like traumatize the fuck out of me. Um, but yeah, you know, in this house every day, it's just he's totally different. You know, it really makes you question all these diseases like, you know, your Parkinson's and dementia and that, Alzheimer's. Yeah, I look at it all as all induced, you know, and poisonings and aluminium in that, and who knows who's in the driver's seat, you know. Um, what else can I say, man? Just trying to think, man. What else can I say? It's a shit show going out there to the supermarket every day. I was just looking at the prices. We have Pack and Save here. It's the cheapest one, and then there's Countdown, and then there's New World. Those are the three main ones. Pack and Save is the cheapest, but it's kind of funny in a sick way. You know, it's like you get looshed more there. You get energy harvested and fucked up more there, because they're these big, giant, high ceiling, dazzling. The lighting's ramped up. Of course, there's like probably like three times more people there, like 200 people there all day, every day, unless it's like 7 a.m. They're only open 7 till 10. You know, gone are the days of any sort of 24-hour supermarkets or 12 o'clock close. It's all been dialed back for the COVID thing, and yeah, you know, it's like you get the low prices, but at the cost of more loosh. You know, for Lord Draco and his scaly, like, archontic astral overlords, or whatever it's meant to be. You know, I'm just trying to add a bit of humour there. Who knows? Uh, it does seem an undeniable thing, this whole loosh farm thing. You know, all this trauma and everything's financially incentivized, isn't it? All the suffering gets rewarded financially, it seems. Um, so I was looking at like the Countdown prices. Oh, I'll have to pay like $1 more for the blueberries, you know, 50 cents more for the tissues and all this, and it's so pathetic, kind of, this world. But you know, probably better just to pay the extra money and not get stressed the fuck out. Um, there is the delivery thing, like there's either they do a delivery to your house, or you can order them online and pick them up. But you know, as we TIs know, that's a bit of a, like, you know, it's a bit of a food roulette, isn't it? You don't know if it's going to get poisoned or tampered with. Um, More chance of it, you know, if they're delivering it than if you just pick it up from the store. Um, I don't know how all this, yeah, I try not to go too out there, but I haven't had that much street thespian stuff in this country. Like, even back in the day when it was all kicking off in 2017, you know, when the onslaught, I call it the blitzkrieg stage of this Zerzetsa, um, it wasn't that bad. There weren't that many people in on it. You know, it really makes you wonder why is that? Is it some sort of morality thing? Is it that the MK tech isn't taking people over, or what is it? I don't know. You know, I don't like to blame it all on the technology, because it's like, weren't we meant to have free will here? You know, surely like some sort of free will. If any of these occult wizards up the top, you know, they're meant to like honor the codes of the universe or whatever. Like, surely they have to respect some free will, don't they? But it seems like free will is just a piss take. It's just a big joke, you know. I also have a hard time believing, you know, I'm not telling anyone 100% what it is, but I just have a hard time believing that it's all, you pay the guy the gift card, and I'm not saying that doesn't happen. I'm sure there's all of these things are happening probably, but there's just some instances, man. It's just like, how do you explain that? You know, I walk out the door, for instance. It's probably what you guys want to hear more. Is just the the instances, the weird skit things that happen. That's probably more interesting than these just rambles that I have. But I hear like an idling big vehicle out there, so I walk out. There's a bit of a narrow path, you know, and there's bushes and stuff, and then I see there's a petrol tanker there, which is very strange in this, you know, side street for a big petrol tanker to be there. And it's parked perfectly, so I see the end of the phone number, and it's got a series of numbers that I've been sensitized to, and it's like parked absolutely perfectly to the like centimeter that I just see the last few numbers, you know, that were very, you know, I'd been clearly like sensitized to. So I don't know how anyone would line that up, you know, in the ear Bluetooth. Oh, you got to pull forward a little bit, mate. You know, I don't know. It's hard to believe it's like that. You can see why we think it's like this omnipotent, you know, Christoph motherfucker like in the Truman Show going, pull up out there, Truman will love it, because we love you, buddy. We gotta fuck with your head, you know. Just the other day I wrote a pretty good post on Facebook, simplistically kind of proving this electromagnetic targeting, like not definitively 100%, but it was a great post, I think. It was about the Waardenburg syndrome, Waardenburg, and it's a grey forelock, right? And this is what I have when I haven't got the coconut oil, and I've got a grey spot on the top of my head from oxidative stress, from being hit in that spot, you know, for 9 years. And it actually fled into existence a few months after the tonal tinnitus started up. But I was writing this post, you know, it was pretty damn good. Like, and then just before I finished it, this chopper motorbike roared around the corner, like, whoa, you know. First time that's happened for a long time, like, but it was, yeah, it's pretty fucking clear. Something orchestrated that, and I don't know if it's the local PD, like, he's writing a fucking thing, let's send around our agent, you know, deniable gangster on his chopper to intimidate him. You know, there's some instances like that where it's just so, within minutes, like, damn, is this really like just a bunch of frat boy losers with fancy technology? Like, I don't know. There's some other crazy shit where I've taken weird, like a time lapse of the clouds, and there's just been weird, you know, weird fucking faces in the clouds, like time lapsing, like poof, 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 changing. And that's the camera seeing it. I'd love to ask a white coat, how does the camera see that? Is the camera schizophrenic? You know, I got some pretty good circumstantial evidence, but I don't post it for you guys because, you know, some will accuse you of Photoshop. It's definitely not. I have no interest in toying with anyone, you know. But it's like I don't want to put anything out there that might fuck someone's head up and make them all, you know, make them more afraid or whatever, or rock their worldview or something. But yeah, I do have some evidence just to prove this is a thing, this is a manipulation, this is a phenomena, you know. I have a lot of credible evidence, but it's just so ugly, you know. I just don't see the point. Like, the only point of proving this whole thing is to, like, try to, just so that your families and your friends won't gaslight you as much. That's like, especially in the early years, that's like one of the worst things of all of this. is the gaslighting in my experience. But yeah, I used to think if I had one person I could talk to about this, it would be such a relief, you know. But then again, if we're all under some sort of electromagnetic influence, like, are you even able to like wake him up? You know, and it, you know, for me, it's always back to like, oh, I don't really want to wake him up, because then what's going to happen to their head? You know, they're going to be fucking, maybe they'll be all fucking just too, it'll be too much for them to keep going, and yeah, it's getting very hard to cope now, isn't it? Like, assuming people aren't NPCs, you know, that's another theory, isn't it? When you see people with beards and they don't have a single grey hair, how is that possible? When they're like my age and they haven't got a grey hair in their beard. Yeah, still watching Kyle's old videos, Vulcan Wolverine, man. That's still a comfort of mine. I put it on just to hear someone go, you know, old videos of his. The face of targeting has kind of changed, hasn't it? From 10 years ago, it's more all this spiritual talk that I don't really agree with. I was going to go there, but I won't. You know, just someone like a Gabby Tune channel, right? She was saying like, I don't know. I don't know if these people are aware, like in on it or something, or I'm not saying, I don't know. But I don't know how like praying is going to stop a dew weapon. You know, because we're not down at the field range, the Raytheon fire range. If we were and we could test the power of prayer in front of their fucking energy like LRAD, then I'd be a believer, but it just feels like a sleazy coercion. I can't remember the terms AI used when I was asking about this sort of stuff, like you pray away the energy attacks. It just felt like abuse, you know, it felt like some sort of weird, what do they call it? Is it spiritual bypassing or something? Definitely gaslighting, you know. Felt like they were trying to convert me to Christianity, you know, torturing me, and then I'll be like, oh, please stop. And then it eventually eases off a little bit. But it only eases off, it doesn't stop entirely. Anyway, I try not to talk about that stuff, it's all very ugly and it's very, very anxiety inducing. You know, when there's never any clear cut answers to it all. What else can I say, man? The NAC, I probably can't say this because it might be deemed like health advice, but that really helps me at least. Just helps me feel a little bit healthier. I take the powder version. It's actually not too bad value for money. Bought some multi-greens the other day, just some powder stuff with all these different nutrients, and it seems to help. It does seem to help quite a bit. But yeah, man, I'm sober, like 2 or 3 years now, entirely sober. You know, I was never that huge drinker or tobacco smoker or anything, but you still look like shit, you know. People just come to conclusions, you know, no one even knows the context of the situation. There's never a time to talk about the context, is there? All by design, you know, there's no, what do they call it, the common spaces are eroded away, the third spaces as they call them in these videos I see. Third spaces being like a community centre or something, so you know, there's never an opportunity to like talk about it with anyone really. I don't bother saying it to anyone I meet at the park, any regulars, because there's a couple of people there I kind of know, and if I did touch on it, you know, those micro friendships are over, you know, it's all done. What's the time looking like here? Is it 25 minutes? Some people are so out of touch with it all. They're like, a couple of guys, they love their Pokemon games. They're just on their phones all the time, like barely looking up. There's medical helicopters flying over the park all the time, and I'll see usually a couple of medical helicopters every time I'm at the park. And the guy thought it was a police helicopter. It's like landing on the hospital. Like, I don't bother saying anything, you know. Because I think a lot of people are on psych meds now, and it's like, if it's helping them, just that's great, obviously. But I don't want to say anything to like totally send them spiraling into the abyss, you know. So the old person I live with as well, I didn't say anything to them about any of this, and just as well, man, you know. I heard they had a relapse and were back in the psych ward, and if I had have said anything about this targeting to them, I'd be worried like, oh fuck, maybe I caused that. But I zipped it. I said nothing to them while I lived with them, and it was just very hard. You know, they could sense that there was something bothering me, and I couldn't talk about it. At least here with these old folks, I'll talk about it, and it would be like whew, just over their head, like I said nothing. What's the time looking like here, man? You always feel hurried along. So one good story was just try to find some positive thing to talk about. There's a community out at this lake that I go to, where I made the other video, and they were going to get pushed off their land. You know, they're on these huts that they lease, and the lease wasn't going to be renewed because of, you know, climate change, weather problems or something. And yeah, they're trying to get them into the cities. And surprisingly, they actually fought in the courts, and they won, so they're allowed to stay there. So that's great for them, you know. I was very happy because last time I went out there was this cat that was standing in the middle of the road, and I pulled over and you know, kind of moved the cat off the road, and we hung out a bit, and the cat was just so mellow, you know. He was so peaceful because I feel the energy, right? And I was really enjoying hanging out with him. But then I thought, oh fuck, they're going to get run off the land. That poor cat's going to have to come into this electro-gulag. You know, it's going to be shocking for it, like probably literally. But then I got the good news that hey, they don't have to leave. So that really, I felt great about that. The lucky, you know, the cat's going to get to stay there. I'd thought about going there, you know, to see if I could rent a room in one of these places. These huts used to just be like places for druggies and alcoholics to just live in squalor, but now they've been done up, and they're a luxury, you know, for people who want to bug out, like off grid or whatever. And they're kind of like, well, I think they've doubled in price at least, maybe tripled. But yeah, it is a relief out there. I have less brain fog. It's nice and dark and quiet. You know, there's none of that overstimulation. It's a big mercy, you know, big relief. Anyway, that's about it, I guess. Oh yeah, time's about up. That's all I can go for. I try to have a bit of humour, you know, so the channel was a bit all over the place. Just don't want to be depressive and, you know, miserable all the time. Try to laugh at it, have a bit of absurdism sometimes, just to help the vibe, you know, the moods.